In today's video, I want to talk about a very controversial fight in Star Wars. That being the fight between Yoda and Emperor Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith. Now, people often argue about who the real victor was in this fight, as it does seem for a lot of the fight that Yoda has the upper hand, but it's often believed that Palpatine toys with his fighters, and you can never tell when he's actually going full out on them. And also, Yoda in the end ends up fleeing while Palpatine is still standing. So, who really ended up winning this fight? Now, to figure this out, we can look through a couple Star Wars medias on top of the fight itself. Now, both Palpatine and Yoda are extremely skilled in lightsaber combat. Throughout the Clone Wars and other films, we rarely, if ever, see them lose. Now, Palpatine easily disarms both Maul and Savage Opress in the Clone Wars, and then earlier in Revenge of the Sith, kills 4 Jedi Knights before fighting Mace Windu, and many argue that he even beat Mace Windu but faked the ending just to get Anakin on his side. Now, in the fight itself, Palpatine does initially attempt to flee before having a lightsaber fight with Yoda. Now, something I do want to point out is that during a brief moment when it cuts to Anakin versus Obi-Wan, beforehand, Palpatine is fighting Yoda with his lightsaber, whereas afterwards his lightsaber is missing, meaning he likely was disarmed. And that's why he switches to using his Force powers. Now, another thing to notice is that when he's using his Force powers, Yoda struggles to run through the different pods he throws at them, but he does manage to dodge them all, and manages to throw one right back at him. And the very first one he throws back at Palpatine makes Palpatine have to jump out of the way, leading both Yoda and Palpatine to get into a duel of Force powers where Palpatine fires lightning at Yoda. And now, even if you look at their facial expressions here, you can very clearly see that Yoda is very confident in what he's doing, while Palpatine looks surprised and fearful of what is going to happen. Right after that, you can see them both get launched backwards, where Yoda gets launched into the Senate pod and to the ground, whereas Palpatine just gets launched into a random Senate pod. Now, the fall from that height would be really painful, even for a Jedi Knight. So Yoda very clearly got unlucky with that, while Palpatine was just launched to the side. And you also do have to realize by this point, Yoda was trying to finish the duel as quickly as possible and get out of there, as Palpatine had already alerted clones by that point what was going on, and it was already swarmed with clones. As you can see, by the time Yoda starts escaping, which is immediately after his fall, there's already clones in the Senate chamber, and it's very likely that it was surrounded by clones by this point, meaning Yoda would have to fight both Palpatine and legions of clones to escape. So, even though Yoda did end up fleeing, if it was just Yoda and Palpatine in the Senate building, and there were no clones arriving, I believe that Yoda would have stayed and likely would have won the fight. Now, what do you guys think in the comments below? I know this is kind of a controversial opinion, but considering the evidence, I believe that Yoda had the upper hand for most of the fight. And while Palpatine does often toy with whoever he's fighting, I believe in this situation he was genuinely fearful of fighting Yoda, as demonstrated by both his facial expressions and his actions. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Comment down below what you think, and peace out.